Today, we're going to go over lactose-free and reduced lactose claims in under 5 minutes. Before we even start talking about labeling or claims, we have to talk about what lactose is. Well, lactose is a disaccharide, or it's made up of two sugars, and those two sugars are glucose and galactose. Now, the chemical formula is going to be 12 carbons, 22 hydrogens, and 11 oxygens. So it looks kind of funny. It looks like two boxes put together. But ultimately, it's milk sugar. And milk has about 4.5% to 5% lactose. Now, that lactose can be cut in half by lactase. So, what's the big deal with lactose labeling anyway? Why do we care? Well, the answer is some people are lactose intolerant. That doesn't mean they have a milk allergy, but people that are lactose intolerant lack or have very minimal amounts of the lactase enzyme, which when you are consuming more than 12 grams of lactose at one time, or greater than 24 grams in one 24-hour period, that becomes a little too much for the body, which we'll talk a little bit about that next. So when your body doesn't have this lactase enzyme, or has very little of it, it goes through the rest of your body, and other microbes that are in your GI tract end up creating other byproducts and potentially gas. So you can have symptoms such as abdominal pain, bloating, gas, as well as nausea. Or it can get as bad as having diarrhea or potentially vomiting as well. So if lactose is naturally occurring in milk, how do we reduce or remove it from those milk products? Well, number one, you can use lactase, the enzyme, which basically cuts lactose in half into glucose and galactose, or you can put that milk through a filtration process. Things like ultrafiltration, like products like Fairlife. You can also use cultures, lactic acid cultures. They basically eat that lactose and create lactic acid from that. So many products such as mozzarella or aged cultured cheeses such as Parmesan, cheddar, Edam, Gouda, or cultured yogurt products. Basically, over time, those lactic acid cultures are going to take that lactose and reduce it to very small levels over time. Now for the part of the video you've been waiting for, the lactose-free claim. Now, FDA does not have a standard or regulatory definition for this, so whatever you put on that label needs to be truthful and not misleading. Well, what does that mean? So you should have a product that is virtually free of lactose. So you should be doing verification testing, and those tests should be showing that it's 99.9% free and accurate to the 0.1%. Now, if you're going to have naturally lactose-free claims, it's the same thing. There's no FDA standard or regulatory definition for that. But to qualify this, that cheese or product should be made without special processing to eliminate that lactose. Now, if you're going to say naturally lactose-free cheese, basically that lactose should be eliminated through the cheese making process. Now, for the lactose-reduced claims, we like to look at 21 CFR 184.1338, which talks about the lactase enzyme derived from Clyvoromyces lactis. Now, the lactose-reduced milk, it should have 70% less lactose than the regular product. To recap, lactose is basically milk sugar. It's a disaccharide comprised of glucose and galactose. When you have that lactose intolerance, it means you don't have that lactase enzyme or have very little, and it can cause symptoms like bloating, gas, diarrhea, vomiting. And some dairy products with little to no lactose are going to be cultured products such as yogurt, cheddar, mozzarella, Colby. There are also other products that utilize lactase, the enzyme, or they filter them to reduce that lactose content. Although there's not a legal definition for lactose-free, you want to make sure that whatever claim you're making is truthful and not misleading, and you're doing some form of verification testing on some sort of routine basis to make sure that it is 99.9% free of lactose, accurate to the 0.1% value. And for the lactose-reduced claim, follow that 21 CFR 184.1338 and make sure that it is at least 70% less lactose than the original product. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.